Alex Thorne's worn gloves gripped the handle of his plasma wrench as he trudged through the dusty streets of Dusthaven Outpost. The remote colony on Epsilon Prime was a forgotten speck in the galaxy, a harsh world of endless red sands and towering rock formations that baked under twin suns. Heat waves shimmered off the ground, making his lean frame sweat beneath his faded mechanic's overalls. Another shift done, another meager credit transfer to his account. The only gig a human like him could scrape together in this forsaken dust bowl. Eviction notice pending. Thorne. Pay up or pack up. The automated message from his Habitat Pods management had pinged that morning, its robotic voice echoing in his skull. 4 years on this rock, fixing busted mining rigs for alien overlords, and he was still one faulty repair away from sleeping in the dunes. The intricate scars on his hands, souvenirs from a botched smuggling run back on Earth, itched with irritation. One good payout, he grumbled to himself. That's all I need to get off this heap. The Zorath mining consortium that employed him had dangled a bonus for overhauling their deep core drillers. Bonus meant fuel for his junked shuttle, meant settling his debts, meant a shot at something better. All he had to do was navigate the outpost's treacherous back paths without getting jumped by sand raiders or sighted by the colonial enforcers. Easy enough. Alex veered into a narrow canyon alley between massive sandstone spires, dodging the bustling main drags where Zorath patrols hovered on anti-grav sleds. The alien structures rose like jagged teeth, all curved arches and heat-resistant alloys that defied human engineering. This wasn't his planet. Never would be. A pack of scaly Draken locals, known for their volatile moods, loitered at the next bend. Alex melted into the shadow of a discarded cart, holding his breath until they slithered away. The toolkit slung over his shoulder felt like an anchor. He didn't question what the consortium mined down their courier rule number 1 from his old days. Don't ask, just fix. When the coast cleared, Alex pressed on through the winding canyons. His destination was the outer repair bay, a derelict hangar on the edge of the outpost. Prime spot for discreet work, few eyes watching. He was crossing a barren gulch when he spotted it, or rather her. At first, he dismissed it as a heat mirage. The gulch was empty save for a weathered stone obelisk jutting from the sand like a forgotten monument. But as he neared, he saw a figure lashed to it. A female form slumped against the rough surface, bound with rusted chain links. Her skin was a vibrant purple that gleamed subtly under the harsh sunlight. Her ebony hair cascaded in matted waves, hiding part of her face. She wore nothing but a frayed loincloth, her body exposed to the blistering elements. What an avoid, Alex whispered, his repair job forgotten for a heartbeat. Closer now, he saw the makeshift plaque dangling from her neck. Harsh Zorath glyphs scrawled above, with a crude human translation etched below, claim as desired. Alex's gut twisted. He'd witnessed the galaxy's ugliness, smuggling gone wrong, colonies raised, but this hit different. The purple-skinned girl stirred, lifting her head. Her eyes, swirling with golden flecks like molten stars, widened in terror at his approach. Bruises bloomed across her lithe purple form, and crusted wounds dotted her limbs and sides. "Hey, easy there," Alex said gently, palms up. "Not here to harm you." She recoiled, flattening against the obelisk. Up close, her alien features were clear, elongated ears with subtle ridges, and faint iridescent veins tracing her skin like embedded circuits. Alex scanned the gulch, still deserted, but that wouldn't last. He had a bonus to earn, a life to salvage. This wasn't his fight, but watching her shake, something cracked in his resolve. He'd turned blind eyes before, during his smuggling days, and it haunted him. "Screw it," he muttered, fumbling with the chains. They were basic mechanical binds, no fancy locks. Seconds later, they clattered free. She crumpled forward, too frail to stand. Alex caught her, startled by her feather lightweight. He stripped off his overall's outer layer, draping it over her to shield her skin. The toolkit could wait. "Who did this?" he asked softly, doubting she'd comprehend. To his shock, she replied in broken galactic common. "Penalty, Forbidden Alliance, outcast." Her voice was faint, each syllable a struggle. Who? Alex urged, fury rising. My tribe, she breathed, before her eyes fluttered shut, body going limp against him. Alex swore quietly. The toolkit pressed against his side, a nagging reminder. But leaving her? No. Hoisting her into his arms, he set off. The repair would wait. Some lines he didn't cross, even if it cost everything. Alex's habitat pod was a cramped metal box, barely fit for one, let alone company. The single chamber held a fold-out bunk, a nutrient dispenser, and a sonic cleanser behind a flimsy partition. It felt suffocating as he eased the unconscious alien girl onto the bunk. What am I thinking? He muttered, raking fingers through his tousled brown hair. The consortium's deadline loomed, and they didn't tolerate delays. But her wounds came first. Alex fetched a damp cloth from the dispenser, gingerly wiping away sand and blood from her purple skin. Her breathing was ragged, but even. Studying her, he noted her ethereal beauty despite the alien traits, the graceful arch of her neck, the iridescent veins that shimmered like hidden galaxies. An hour passed before her golden-flecked eyes opened, locking on him with instant wariness. Sure you're safe? Alex soothed, stepping back. She bolted upright, grimacing, clutching his overalls tighter. Her gaze swept the pod before returning to him. Why? She asked, her comment stronger but wary. Alex shrugged. Couldn't walk away. Others did, she said flatly. The words lingered, heavy with accusation. Alex's anger flared at the indifference she'd endured. I'm Alex, he offered, shifting gears. You? She paused. Lira. Lira, he echoed. Hungry. Her eyes lit up with surprise, nodding. Alex programmed the dispenser for basic rations, protein bars, and hydrogel. Standard slop for outpost dwellers. Lira nibbled tentatively, then devoured it. Your tribe? Alex probed as she finished. Why this punishment? Lyra's iridescent veins faded. I shared words with an outsider without ritual approval. Forbidden. For talking. Alex balked. More, Lira confessed, her purple skin tinting deeper. We exchanged glances, a brush of auras. Alex grappled with a society where eye contact warranted torture. And they cast you out for that. The Zorath value purity, she explained. I am now Shadra, clanless, unprotected, open to all. Not on my watch, Alex said resolutely. Not here. Lyra's starry eyes probe his. Why shield me? I mean nothing. Because it's right, Alex replied. Yet deeper stirrings emerged, a spark he couldn't name. His comm unit buzzed harshly. Alex excused himself to the cleanser nook. The hologram of Kraz, his Draken supervisor, materialized, fangs bared. Where's my drill fix, Thorne? Delay, Alex steadied. Need extra time. 1 hour, Kraz snarled. I dock your bonus, and more. The feed cut. Alex leaned on the wall, exhaling. 1 hour to deliver or face ruin worse than eviction. Emerging, he found Lira by the pod's viewport, staring at the swirling sandstorms. His overalls slipped, revealing the elegant lines of her back and the iridescent veins pulsing along her spine. Gotta head out, he said regretfully. Job's critical. Lira faced him. Your toolkit. Vital for survival. Keeps me afloat, Alex admitted. Back soon. Stay hidden. As he grabbed the kit, Lira approached. Her nearness sparked an electric hum. You hazard much for an unknown, she whispered, her hand hovering before grazing his arm. Alex felt a warm tingle at the contact. Her iridescent veins glowed brighter, syncing with an inner rhythm he sensed as her pulse. In my ways, Lira murmured, a rescue binds souls. You freed me. I owe you. I don't seek debts, Alex rasped. You're free. Freedom chooses its ties, Lira countered. Her face neared, features both foreign and captivating. Alex felt an inexplicable draw, primal and profound. Reluctantly, he withdrew. 1 hour, then back. As he left, Lyra's gaze followed, heavy with promise. Whatever brewed between them paused for now. The repair went off without hitches, suspiciously so. Kraz grunted approval, transferred the bonus, and waved him off sans threats. Off kilter, but Alex didn't pry. Priority. Return to Lira. Sand whipped through Dust Haven's canyons as Alex hurried back, the twin suns dipping low. Night brought out the outpost's predators. He palmed the stun rod in his belt, a black market holdover from smuggling days, banned for humans here. Reaching his pod block, he bounded up the ramp. Bonus credits hummed in his account. Enough for rent, supplies for Lira. Lira, he called, entering. I'm. Silence. Tension spiked as he spotted her on the bunk, curled tight, shuddering despite the pod's heat. Her iridescent veins flickered wildly, purple skin paling to lavender. Lira. Alex knelt, hand to her brow, scorching. What's happening? Her eyes cracked open, starry depths dulled by agony. Alex, inner fire. Examining, he saw wounds swollen violet, black tendrils spidering out. Infection, severe. Hold on, he urged, masking fear. Getting aid. Lira gripped him fiercely. No medics, they'll alert. Your Shadra. Alex pressed. Need treatment. Zorath physiology unique, she gasped. Human drugs, lethal. Alex cursed. True, cross-species meds risked fatality. He needed a Xenotech expert, discreet. Mira Voss, he recalled. A human engineer running an underground workshop, patching alien tech and biology for off-grid types. He'd smuggled parts to her once. I know someone, he told Lira. Can you move? She tried rising, collapsed with a cry. Veins dimmed alarmingly. Carrying you, Alex resolved, bundling her in a thermal sheet, lifting her. Her head lolled on his shoulder as he carried her into the night. Despite the crisis, her form against him stirred awareness, a bond beyond circumstance. Stay awake, he whispered as her lids drooped. The trek to Voss's workshop plunged them into Dust Haven's underbelly. Alex stuck to ravines, evading patrols. Lira worsened, breath shallow. At last, a concealed hatch in a canyon wall. Alex rapped the code. 4 quick, 2 slow. The hatch hissed open, revealing a stout woman with augmented arms whirring softly. Thorne. Mira Voss blinked. This better be. She needs help. Alex barged in, laying Lira on a workbench amid tools and scanners. Voss's augments scanned Lira. Zorath female. Rare sight outside their hives. What happened? Found her chained in a gulch. Alex skimmed. Exiled by her tribe. Voss whistled. Shadra's status. Brutal. She inspected wounds. These are ritual incisions. Zorath marked their outcasts visibly. Can you fix her? Alex demanded. Handled Zorath before, Voss affirmed. Sparse, but enough. She prepped a hypo. This counters their toxins. Toxins? Alex echoed. Poison-laced cuts, Voss grim. Standard for Shadra. Prolonged suffering before death. Alex's rage boiled. They wanted her dead. Slowly, Voss confirmed. As Voss treated, Alex held Lyra's hand. Her skin cooled, veins stabilizing in a soothing pulse. Your scars, Lira mumbled, half-conscious, fingering one on his hand. They speak of trials. Old smuggling wounds, Alex murmured. Her touch lingered, sparking tingles. In my tribe, only survivors were such. Was a pilot once, Alex shared. Risky runs. Lyra's eyes held admiration. A survivor with heart. My kin scorn such duality. Voss coughed from across. She rests here tonight. Serum needs time. Alex nodded, staying put. Lyra's hand stayed in his, contact deepening their unspoken link. Voss retreated. Lyra's veins glowed contentedly. In the workshop's hum, Alex sensed a shift. This purple alien had revived something buried. Hope, connection, in his jaded soul. Her gaze confirmed reciprocity. Alex stirred a soft weight on his chest. He'd doze in the chair by Lyra's side, hands linked. Overnight, she'd nestled closer, head on him, ebony hair fanned over his arm. Workshop lights haloed her purple skin, veins pulsing steadily. Serum succeeded. Fever gone, wounds mending. Alex tucked a lock behind her ear, struck by her tranquil strength. Sensing him, Lyra's starry eyes opened. Confusion faded to warmth. You remained. Wouldn't leave, Alex whispered. Faces close, her breath mingled with his. Veins quickened, signaling emotion. In my traditions, Lira said, watching over the ill binds deeply. Just common kindness, Alex smiled. Lyra's fingers mapped his face. Human's intrigue, fierce yet gentle. Her touch electrified, bond intensified, unforeseen. Feeling better? He asked, distracted. Revitalized, she replied. Veins flared, illuminating walls. Voss entered, expression dire. Pack up. Now. What? Alex tensed. Alert pinged, Voss said. Zorath hunters offering bounties for Shadra tips. You wouldn't. Alex reached for his stun rod. Didn't, Voss snapped. But my helper saw you. Sent a signal before I caught him. Jax. Alex recalled the twitchy assistant. Voss nodded. Locked away but too late. They'll swarm soon. Alex steadied Lira. She wobbled but stood. Clothes for her. Alex said, Lira still sheet-wrapped. Voss fetched a tech suit. Oversized but functional. As Lira changed, Voss pulled Alex aside. Human refuge in the deep canyons. Beyond Zorath reach. The haven, Alex knew whispers of it. Human holdout in old dig sites. Seek Commander Reyes, Voss urged, handing a data slug. My vouch. Tell her I sent you. Lira emerged, suit baggy but graceful on her. You look steadier, Alex encouraged. Stronger, she affirmed, eyes intense. Veins pulse gratitude, and more. Voss passed a med pack. Final dose in 12 hours. Through a back hatch into pre-dawn chill. Deep canyons northeast, 15 clicks. Avoid paths. Alex clasped Voss's arm. Dead. Survive, Voss gruffed. Slipping out, Lyra's hand found Alex's. Warmth surged, affirming their budding tie. They darted through industrial ravines, pre-dawn quiet cloaking them. Even night prowlers hunkered. Your engineer braved much, Lira noted in a narrow pass. Humans do that, Alex said. Best of us. Lyra's veins flickered. My tribe prizes collective over self. Individual erased. Sounds isolating, Alex remarked. She conceded softly. Until you. Pausing at a fork, they checked for drones before advancing. Exertion flushed Lyra's purple deeper, enhancing her allure. Rest soon, Alex suggested, noting her breaths. I endure, Lira insisted, eyes determined. Your worry touches but unneeded. Yet fatigue showed. Shelter vital before pushing to haven. Turning a bend, Lira shoved them into a crevice, bodies pressed. Electric thrill coursed. Hunters, she hissed, breath on his ear. Through slits, a Zorath skimmer glided by, scanner sweeping. In the tight space, Alex felt every contour. Her chest to his, warmth on neck, hands on arms trembling slightly. Her veins raced, sinking her heart's thrum. Glow intensified at contacts. Your pulse quickens, Lira whispered, studying him. Not fear, Alex admitted huskily. Awareness sparked in her. Veins flared, bluing their faces. Attraction crosses stars, she marveled softly. Skimmer passed. They lingered, moment charged. Move on, Alex said reluctantly, body resisting. Lira agreed, stepping back. Haven calls. Journeying through stirring outpost, their bond grew with glances, touches. Whatever awaited, change was irrevocable. Deep canyon sprawled, maze of eroded chasms and derelict mines under twin suns. Near, Alex checked an AV slug. Haven beyond that cliff. Lira eyed barren vista. Humans choose this freely. Liberty's cost, Alex quoted. Better free in dust than chained in luxury. Odd wisdom. Lira mused, veins thoughtful. Zorath trade freedom for safety. Explained your path with me. Alex smiled lightly. Night's trials fortified their link. Shared perils, cares built indefinable value. Nearing cliff, Alex spotted glints, sniper lenses. Halt, he warned, hand on her arm. State purpose, voice boomed from hidden spot. Alex Thorne, Mira Voss sent us. Seek Commander Reyes. Silence. Then a figure emerged, sturdy man with sun-leathered skin, buzzed head. Rifle slung, eyes appraising, lingering on Lyra's purple. I'm Reyes, he rumbled, command evident. Voss omitted the Zorath. She needs refuge, Alex said, offering slug. Shadra, hunted by her own. Reyes slotted slug into gauntlet reader. Face neutral reviewing. Voss vouches. Means wait. But her? Trouble brews. No other haven, Alex insisted. Zorath enforcers pursue. Reyes sighed, lowering rifle. Follow. Assembly decides. Led through camouflaged fissure into vast underground network. Mines repurposed. Domiciles in rock. Grovats lit artificial. Barter stalls humming. Lira marveled. So many humans unbound. 400 strong. Reyes proud. Began ex-smugglers rejecting alien yokes. Now, techs, growers, all self-reliant. Traversing, stairs followed, curious to hostile. They dread me, Lira quiet. Dread reprisal if found, Alex clarified. Reyes ushered to grand cavern, 7 seated at arc table. Assembly, Alex guessed. Commander Reyes, central woman, stern with braided hair. Explain. Voss referral, Reyes pass slug. Zorath is Shadra. Both hunted. Assembly traded looks, reviewing. Whispers. Hazard example backlash. Woman addressed. I'm Chairwoman Hale. Assembly rules haven. Your arrival complicates. Temporary asylum. Alex pled. Days to strategize. Human stays, man declared. Zorath leaves. Can't chance Zorath raids. Lira advanced. Veins resolute. I grasp fears. My stay risks you. I'll depart. No, Alex firm. Together. Cavern erupted debate. Some railed danger. Others urged mercy. Heated till Hale silenced. Needs deliberation, she decreed. Confined to guest bay, under watch. Escorted to rock-hewn cell. Lyra's hand and Alex's conveyed volumes. Thanks, anxiety, deeper, unnamed. Quarter sparse. Essentials, single bunk. Guards outside, clarified status. Shouldn't have tied your fate, Lira said alone. Not ditching you. Alex emotive. Lira neared, starry eyes probing. Such devotion, clan only in my ways. Yet to alien stranger. Not stranger now, Alex soft. Her veins brightened, pulsing with heartbeat. In Zorath writes, Lira whispered, intimacy post-ceremony only. My forbidden aura brush earned torment. Alex still as her hand traced jaw. But Shadra unbound, she husky, spines tingling. Air electric as Lira closed, veins blazing. Your mercy rescued. Strength guarded. Touch. Fingers down neck to heart. Alex's control shattered. Drew her in, hand and hair, lips meeting. Warm surge amplified by her glowing veins at touches. Each caress, kiss, deep in tie, beyond physical to profound. In Cell's sanctuary, amid potential rejection, they found liberty defying species, cultures. As explored, Lyra's veins wove private nebula charting union. From gulch encounter to unimaginable. Alex roused to murmurs outside. Lira nestled, veins soft glowing on shared bunk. Night altered them fundamentally, bond via vulnerability, passion transcending species. Easing free, he listened at door. Landed hour back, Reyes' voice. Earth Alliance envoy. Worst timing, Hale gruff. With Zorath here. That's key, Reyes cut. Here, for human Zorath, Pax. Alex tensed, shook Lira awake. Her eyes warmed on him. Something stirs, he quiet. Earth diplomats arrived. Lira rose, veins alert. Complicates. Knock. Reyes entered, tense. Assembly decided. Join session. Eyes noted disarray, brow arched. Tidy up. Reyes gone. They prepped silent, air charged. Brushes, glances flared Lyra's veins. In my lore, Lira said as Alex adjusted suit. Union reshapes essence. In humans, he's soft. It forges lasting. Knock interrupted. Escort to chamber. Chamber buzzed. Table expanded for 3 suited diplomats. Hale gestured. These are they. Elegant man with salt-pepper hair stood. Ambassador Marcus Hale. No relation, he joked. Eyes assessed. Your case opportune. Opportune. Alex wary. Hale nodded. Negotiating Zorath council months for better human terms. Your story pivotal. Lyra's veins dimmed. Shadra. Council ignores. Not so. Aid interjected, screens floating. Intel shows your exile stirred reformists. Question punishment. Alex protective nearer Lira. Proposing what? Hail neutral. Lira testifies joint panel on treatment. AIDS reform straining ties. Political pawn. Alex angry. Restore status. Advance humans. Hail corrected. Zorath consider lifting Shadra for trade concessions. Lira's eyes widened. Restore clan. Hail confirmed. With limits. Alex to Lira. Want return. Question waited. Night shared. Bond. Future unimagined. Lira's veins fluxed. Unsure. Yesterday, yes. Now, eyes met. Veins bright at touch. Alternative. Hail noted interaction. Pushing exchange. Lira asylum as liaison. Meaning, Alex pressed. Stay human zones, including here, if approved, limited tribe contact. Not restored, but not Shadra. Hail cleared throat. Assembly offers sanctuary both, diplomacy aside. We protect ours. Murmur approval. Zorath arrived tomorrow. Hail said. Decide by then. New quarters larger. Comfy. Acknowledgement shift. Alone. Lira at viewport, overlooking haven bustle. Humans amaze. Independent yet united. Alex joined. Our strength. Stubborn alone. Solid together. Lira faced. Eyes searching. Night transformed me. Union alters core. Alex traced veins, brightening. Me too. If stay, Lira whisper. Then, navigate together. Alex simple. Day by day. Lira's veins, joy pulsed. Leaned in, forehead to chest. Punishment men end. Became start. Stood. Veins mapping futures from Gulch Mercy. Tomorrow decisions. Tonight, rare treasure. Connection defying worlds. Dawn gilded canyons. Alex at window watched Zorath shuttles land beside Earth once. Day decisive. Lira emerged bathed, ebony hair wet, purple glowing. Tailored suit fit her grace. Decided. Alex soft. Lira viewed activity. Yes. No direct meet. Alex searched face. Sure? Chance to reclaim. What reclaim? Lira bitter. To tribe chaining for aura glance. Shook head. Veins determined. Found better. Hand in his, veins cascaded light. Ambassador wants testimony. Alex reminded. Shall give, recorded. For others' sake. Reyes knocked, escorted. Meeting underway. Chamber packed. Diplomats. Zorath in ornate scales. Hale approached. Decision. Lira tall. Testimony recorded. No delegation appearance. Hale nodded. Future. Asylum request. Lira firm. Remain haven. Murmur. Zorath delegate. Male with gilded crests. Forward. Irregular. Shadra don't choose. Perhaps rethink practice. Hale countered. Exiles finding mercy elsewhere flaws system. Delegate crests bristled. Punish per laws. Forbidden aura violated sanctity. Aura. Alex burst. Chain. Poison for glance. Silence. Lira squeezed warning. Hale seized. Cultural gap for exchange. Barbaric to us. Traditional to you. Fine middle. Hours negotiated. Alex Lira sidelined. Lira recorded calm account. Shaking humans. Midday packed. Lira asylum. Liaison. Zorath allow human hub. Cooperation step. Delegates departed. Gilded Zorath male neared Lira. Resemblance. Same ridges, though aged rigidly. You disgrace line. Native tongue. Lira's standard clear. Disgrace with torturers of kin. Crest flat. He left wordless. Your father? Alex asked alone. Lira nodded. Veins saddened him. Patriarch. Sentence me. Alex embraced. Sorry. Don't. Veins brightening. Suffering forges fate. Led here. Weeks brought flux. Lira's asylum sparked Zorath dissidents seeking human aid. Trickled to flow. Alex Lira permanent home. Rock abode viewing haven distant outpost. Alex joined engineering crew. Skills purposeful. Lira interpreter. Aiding new Zorath. Teaching humans customs. 6 months on. Balcony sunset bathed canyons amber gold. Message today. Lira said. Eyes reflecting. Reform faction and tribe. Challenge Shadra. Seek change. You're doing. Alex proud. Ours corrected. Facing. Veins evolved, blending Alex's scar patterns, symbol fusion. Glad took that shift, Alex admitted. Lira laughed freely now. Cosmos weaves oddly. Inside, intimacy once forbidden, bond strengthened daily. Entwined later, Lira traced scars. Souls entwined eras, murmured. Or luck, Alex smiled, kissing palm. Luck, Lira thoughtful, eyes gleaming. Human gift I cherish. Outside, haven lights starry. Within, human Zorath bridge from gulch compassion. Exile foundation for understanding. Mercy gave home, purpose, love beyond species. Greatest tales from simple acts. Aiding need, defying instinct. 1 year had passed since Lira's historic asylum had ignited a cascade of events across the galaxy, transforming the once isolated haven into a thriving hub of interspecies cooperation. The deep canyons of Epsilon Prime, with their labyrinthine red rock formations etched by millennia of relentless sandstorms, now sheltered not just humans, but a growing community of Zorath dissidents. These purple-skinned refugees, marked by their iridescent veins and starry golden-flecked eyes, had fled the rigid hierarchies of their homeworld, drawn by tales of Lira's defiance and the human compassion that had saved her. The twin suns beat down mercilessly during the day, casting long shadows that danced like specters across the canyon floors, while nights brought a chilling wind that whispered secrets through the repurposed mining tunnels. Alex Thorne and Lira had carved out a life that felt remarkably ordinary amid the chaos, a testament to their unbreakable bond. Alex, with his lean frame hardened by years of smuggling and now engineering work, had risen to lead the Haven's defense tech team. His tousled brown hair was often dusted with red sand from field tests, and his scarred hands, souvenirs from botched runs and recent skirmishes, moved with precise confidence as he retrofitted old mining drones into automated sentries. The assembly had grown increasingly vigilant. Rumors of Zorath radical factions plotting retribution swirled like the ever-present dust devils. Alex's days were filled with blueprints, welding torches, and strategy sessions, but his nights belonged to Lira. Lira, the once exiled Shadra, had blossomed in her role as cultural liaison. Her ebony hair, now grown to her waist and often woven into intricate braids adorned with human trinkets like metallic beads from salvage tech, framed her vibrant purple face. Her iridescent veins, which pulsed with emotions like living light shows, had become a symbol of hope for the new arrivals. She spent her hours mediating disputes, explaining Zorath aura-sharing rituals to baffled human farmers, or teaching Zorath exiles the nuances of human humor to ease tensions in the communal hydroponic gardens. Her golden-flecked eyes, deep as nebulae, held a wisdom forged in suffering, and her lithe form moved with a grace that turned heads in the bustling tunnels. Yet, beneath the surface of this newfound stability, cracks were forming. That fateful morning, as the first sun crested the jagged canyon rims, bathing the haven in a crimson glow, Alex stirred in their shared bed. The rock-hewn quarters they called home were modest but cozy, walls carved from sandstone, illuminated by soft bioluminescent strips Lira had cultivated from Zorath flora, a small alcove for their nutrient synthesizer, and a balcony overlooking the central cavern where the community gathered. The air hummed with the distant clank of machinery and the murmur of voices echoing through the vents. Lira wasn't beside him. Alex sat up, rubbing sleep from his eyes, and spotted her silhouette on the balcony. She stood motionless, gazing toward the distant twinkling lights of Dust Haven Outpost, where their story had begun in that forsaken gulch. Her purple skin shimmered faintly in the dawn light, her veins pulsing in a slow, contemplative rhythm. Alex padded over, his bare feet silent on the cool stone floor, and wrapped his arms around her waist from behind. The contact sent a familiar warmth through them both, her veins brightening at his touch, a physical echo of their deep connection. "Another message?" he asked softly, his breath stirring the loose strands of her hair. He could feel the subtle vibration of her veins against his chest, a Zorath trait that conveyed emotions more vividly than words. "Yes," Lira replied, her voice a melodic whisper tinged with concern. She leaned back into his embrace, her head resting against his shoulder. From the reformist faction in my former tribe. They've made significant gains. The High Council is finally debating the abolition of the Shadra practice in full session. Petitions from dissidents like me have flooded their chambers. But the radicals, they oppose it with fervor. They view it as a betrayal of our ancestral purity, a weakening that invites human corruption. Alex pressed a gentle kiss to her temple, his scarred fingers tracing idle patterns on her waist. The touch elicited a soft glow from her veins, spreading like ripples in a pond. Progress is always messy, he said, drawing from his own experiences of smuggling deals gone awry and narrow escapes. Look at us. We're living proof that change can come from the unlikeliest places. A year ago, you were chained in that gulch, and I was just a washed-up pilot scraping by. Now, we're at the heart of a movement. Lira turned in his arms, her starry eyes meeting his with a mixture of affection and uncertainty. The golden flecks within them seemed to swirl like distant galaxies, reflecting the depth of her thoughts. And you, Alex? Do you ever regret this path? The dangers we've faced, the ones still looming. You could have left this all behind, found a quiet corner of the galaxy. He chuckled softly, pulling her closer until their foreheads touched. Regrets? None. This life with you, it's more than I ever imagined. The smuggling days were empty thrills. This has purpose. His voice grew huskier as memories of their intimate moments flooded back. Over the months, their physical connection had evolved from the initial passionate explorations in that guarded cell to a profound intimacy that blended their essences. Nights in their quarters were sacred. Slow undressings where he traced her iridescent veins with reverent fingers, watching them flare in response. Her hands mapping his scars as if committing his history to memory. Bodies entwining in rhythms that transcended species, her glow illuminating their shared ecstasy like a private aurora. A sharp, insistent ping from the comm unit shattered the moment. Alex reluctantly released her, striding to the console embedded in the wall. The holographic display flickered to life, projecting Commander Reyes' stern face. His sun-leathered skin and buzzed head were as imposing as ever, his eyes sharp with urgency. Thorne, Lira, report to the assembly chamber immediately. We got an urgent briefing. Bring your gear. This isn't a social call. Lyra's veins dimmed slightly, a visual cue of her unease. Trouble. Always, Alex replied with a wry smile, grabbing his tech suit and stun rod from the alcove. As they dressed, Lira slipping into her tailored liaison garb that accentuated her graceful form. They shared a lingering glance, their bond a silent promise of solidarity. The assembly chamber was a cavernous space deep in the heart of the haven, its walls reinforced with alloy plating scavenged from old mining rigs. The arc-shaped table at the center was surrounded by holographic displays flickering with data streams, and the air buzzed with tense conversations. Chairwoman Hale stood at the head, her braided hair streaked with gray from years of leadership, flanked by Ambassador Marcus Hale, still quick with his no-relation quip, and a cluster of Earth Alliance officials projected via hologram. Scattered around were new faces, a delegation of Zorath dissidents, their purple skins bearing faded ritual scars reminiscent of Lyra's own healed wounds, their veins pulsing in anxious patterns. Gulch Warehouse, guarded by Zorath enforcers posing as relic merchants. If you're smart, stay clear. They're jumpy as sand vipers. Lira, her disguise holding firm, exchanged a glance with Alex. Her projected human eyes couldn't convey the full depth of her concern, but he read it in her posture. We need to verify this, she murmured as Skull departed. Night descended swiftly, the twin suns plunging behind the horizon and plunging the outpost into a neon-lit twilight. The bazaar transformed. Daytime traders gave way to nocturnal dealers, shadows lengthening under glowing signs. Alex and Lira slipped away from their stall, weaving through back alleys where the sand whispered underfoot. The air cooled, carrying the metallic tang of machinery and the faint, acrid scent of illicit chems. Lyra's innate Zorath senses proved invaluable. Even disguised, she could detect faint aura traces, ethereal energy signatures left by her kin. "They are close," she whispered, her hand brushing Alex's in the darkness, sending a subtle tingle that reminded him of their first touches. "I sense multiple auras, agitated and concealed." The warehouse emerged from the gloom, a hulking, rusted metal structure half buried in drifting dunes, its doors guarded by cloaked figures. The Zorath enforcers' crested heads were hidden under hoods, but their postures betrayed them, rigid, vigilant. Alex and Lira scaled a nearby ridge, deploying a compact scanner drone from their pack. The device hummed softly, hovering into position and beaming back thermal images. Crates stamped with intricate Zorath glyphs, but the scans revealed hot spots. Energy signatures from concealed blasters, detonators, and plasma grenades. "Enough ordnance to level half the haven," Alex muttered, his voice low. The implications hit hard. This wasn't just a smuggling op, it was preparation for a full-scale assault. Before they could withdraw, a guard's keen senses picked up the drone's faint whine. A shout echoed. "Intruders!" "Scan the ridge." Blaster fire erupted, crimson bolts slicing the night air. One grazed Alex's arm, searing through his suit and biting into flesh. Pain lanced through him, but he bit it down, grabbing Lyra's hand. "Run!" They scrambled down the ridge, sand cascading in their wake. The enforcers gave chase, their auras flaring visibly now, angry red pulses betraying their positions. Alex fired back with his stun rod, the disruptor mod crackling as it felled one pursuer in a spasm of overloaded nerves. Lira moved with fluid agility, dodging bolts and using her knowledge of Zorath tactics to predict their movements. They dove into a narrow ravine, the walls closing in like a trap. Breath ragged, they pressed into a hidden crevice, bodies flush against each other in the confined space. Lyra's disguise flickered under the stress, patches of purple skin and glowing veins peeking through. Their hearts pounded in unison, the adrenaline sharpening every sensation. The warmth of her breath on his neck, the press of her chest against his, the subtle tremble in her hands gripping his arms. "Are you injured?" she whispered urgently, her fingers probing the burn on his arm. Blood seeped through the fabric, but her touch brought immediate relief, a Zorath healing aura seeping from her veins, knitting the wound with gentle warmth. "Just a scratch," Alex grunted, though the pain throbbed. In the haze of danger, their eyes locked, and the world narrowed to just them. He cupped her face, pulling her into a fierce kiss. It deepened instantly, tongues dancing, hands roaming with desperate need. Her veins blazed through the failing disguise, illuminating the crevice in waves of iridescent light. The kiss was a lifeline, reaffirming their bond amid the chaos. Passion born from survival, love tempered by fire. The patrols thundered past, their shouts fading into the distance. They broke apart reluctantly, breaths mingling. "We have to get this intel back," Alex said, his voice rough with emotion. Racing to their shuttle under cover of darkness, they transmitted the data en route. Warehouse coordinates, shipment details, enforcer counts. But as the engines roared to life, a Zorath interceptor decloaked overhead, its weapons locking on. "Surrender the Shadra traitor," a voice boomed over comms, followed by warning shots that rocked the hull. Alex jerked the controls, diving into the canyons. The pursuit was relentless, lasers streaking past, forcing evasive maneuvers that tested the shuttle's limits. Lira strapped into the co-pilot's seat, her starry eyes, now fully revealed as the disguise failed, scanning readouts. "Missile incoming, evade left now." He banked sharply, the projectile detonating against a rock face in a shower of debris. The G-forces pressed them back, but in the midst of it, Lira reached for his hand. "Alex, if we don't make it." "We will," he snarled, looping the shuttle in a daring inversion to line up a shot. His fingers danced over the weapon's console. A precise burst from the turret clipped the interceptor's wing, sending it spiraling into the sands in a fiery crash. The shuttle limped back to the Haven, hull scorched and systems flickering. Commander Reyes met them on the pad with a security team, his face a mask of grim approval. "Solid work, you two. The intel's gold. Alliance is already planning countermeasures. But the radicals know your faces now. They'll come for you personally. Double guards on your quarters." Exhaustion crashed over them like a wave as they retreated to their home. Lira guided Alex to the bed, her healing aura fully engaged now, mending his wound with pulses of light. "You risked everything once more," she murmured, straddling his hips as she worked. Her ebony hair cascaded like a curtain, framing her concerned expression. "For us, for all this," he replied, his hands sliding up her thighs, pulling her closer. The tension of the chase morphed into desire. Clothes were shed with urgency, bodies pressing, together in familiar harmony. Their lovemaking was intense, a release of pent-up fear and adrenaline. Her veins dancing in ecstatic patterns, illuminating the room. His scars traced by her fingers as if rewriting his past, thrusts and gasps building to a shared climax that left them trembling, entwined. Sleep came in fits, haunted by dreams of chains and explosions. Dawn brought renewed urgency, a holographic summons from Ambassador Hale. "The Radicals network runs deeper than we thought. Our analysts have pinpointed a primary base on Zorath Prime itself, hidden in the polar dunes. It's a fortified hive, buzzing with their leaders and arsenal. Striking there could expose their command structure, force the High Council to disavow them, and solidify the reforms." Lyra's veins fluxed wildly, a storm of colors betraying her turmoil. "My homeworld? To return as an infiltrator. It feels like betrayal, yet necessary. It's a volunteer op," the ambassador assured. "But your knowledge of Zorath terrain and customs makes you ideal. Alliance provides a stealth cruiser, commandos for backup." Alex locked eyes with her. "Your decision, Lira. I'm with you either way." She nodded, resolve hardening her features. "For the dissidents still suffering, for the future we're building, I will go." The hyperspace journey to Zorath Prime spanned days, a blur of stars streaking past the viewports. In the cruiser's cramped cabin, they found solace in each other, sharing stories of Alex's daring smuggling heists across asteroid belts, Lyra's recollections of stifled childhood in the tribal hives where aura touches were forbidden. Nights dissolved into passionate unions, her veins guiding his explorations to new heights of pleasure, his embraces drawing forth glows that painted the bulkheads in ethereal light. Cloaked arrival brought them to the polar dunes, endless white expanses under shimmering auroral skies, winds howling like banshees. Lyra's expertise navigated the ice formations, leading to the hidden hive entrance, a camouflaged burrow pulsing with guarded auras. Disguised as pilgrim wanderers, they infiltrated the labyrinthine tunnels, the air thick with incense and chants of purity. Overhearing strategy sessions in the central chamber revealed the full plot. A coordinated assault on multiple human outposts, timed to collapse the negotiations and incite war. Discovery struck suddenly, a guard sensing Lyra's unique aura flicker through her disguise. "Chandra intruder, seize them." The fight was brutal, Alex's stun rod crackling against armored foes, Lyra's agile strikes exploiting Zorath weak points. They fled deeper into the ice warrens, alarms blaring, pursuers closing in. Cornered in a frozen alcove, the cold biting through their suits, Lira pressed against Alex. "If this is our end." "It won't be," he vowed, capturing her lips in a searing kiss. Passion ignited despite the peril. Clothes parted, bodies joining in a defiant act of love. Her veins blazed, warming the space, patterns swirling in climax as they affirmed their union. Their distress beacon summoned Alliance commandos who stormed the base. Battles raged through tunnels, radicals captured, their leaders' confessions broadcast galaxy-wide. Returning to Haven as heroes, the reforms surged forward, Chandra abolished, dissidents streaming to safety. Months later, on their balcony under the twin suns' glow, Lira nestled against Alex. From outcast to catalyst. All because of your mercy. Our strength, he corrected, fingers interlacing with hers, veins and scars blended eternally. Their love, forged in adversity, bridged stars, mercy's spark igniting galactic change. Zarian Kell flexed his iridescent green limbs, the vibrant emerald hue of his skin shimmering faintly under the artificial lights of the orbital shuttle from Vega Outpost. After 2 grueling years cataloging microbial ecosystems on that storm-ravaged frontier world, his body ached in ways that even the adaptive physiology of his Lyrian species couldn't fully mitigate. The shuttle's hum vibrated through his elongated, 4-jointed frame, a constant reminder of the long haul back to the core worlds of the United Stellar Concord. His lightweight environmental suit, tailored for Lyrian biology with its porous weave to allow for optimal gas exchange through his dermal vents, clung comfortably to his lithe, 7-foot form. It accentuated the natural bioluminescent patterns that traced his arms and torso like living tattoos, subtle glows that pulsed with his mood. Zarian had always taken quiet pride in how the suit made him look less like a reclusive bioarchivist and more like the explorer he occasionally pretended to be. One of the perks of being a leading xenobiologist in the Concord's expansion efforts: access to premium transit, courtesy of the Outpost Administration. The shuttle's announcement chimed in a cascade of languages, the universal translator in Zarian's auditory implant, rendering it crisp in Lyrian harmonics. Final boarding for priority passengers. Proceed to assigned sectors. He checked his holoticket executive pod, with its adaptive gravity fields and nutrient dispensers calibrated for a dozen biochemistries. A small luxury after months of rationed spore-synth meals amid Vega's toxic gales. As he glided toward the executive in trance, his species' natural levitation aiding his graceful steps, he spotted an elderly human in the general queue, hunched over a worn carryall. The man's skin was weathered like cracked earth, pale and etched with the deep lines of age and exertion, his sparse white hair tousled by the shuttle's air currents. He wore a faded jumpsuit, patched from years of frontier labor, and winced with every shift of his weight, one hand pressed to his lower back. Compassion stirred in Zarian's core vents, a warm updraft that made his green skin flush a deeper jade. Humans were resilient. He noted in his field logs adaptable carbon-based bipeds with a penchant for defying their fragile frames, but this one clearly suffered. "Pardon the intrusion," Zarian said, his voice a melodic trill modulated through his translator to Standard Galactic. He approached with a gentle bow, his elongated fingers gesturing deferentially. "Are you in discomfort, honored elder?" The human looked up, his roomy blue eyes widening at the sight of the towering green alien. For a moment, surprise warred with pain on his craggy face. Oh, this old spine of mine," he grunted, straightening as best he could. "Backs up on these bucket seats. Name's Harlan Voss. Nothing a stiff drink won't fix once we're planetside." Zarian's bioluminescence flickered with empathy, casting soft green highlights on the deck. He glanced at his holoticket, then at the rigid benches in the general hold, where passengers jostled like schools of indifferent fish. The choice crystallized in an instant. "Elder Voss, if it pleases you, I offer my executive berth." The pods recline with thermal regulators and ergonomic supports ideal for easing such afflictions. Harlan's bushy eyebrows shot up, his calloused hand pausing mid-rub on his back. "You'd swap with a grizzled old miner like me? Frey, what are you anyway? Some kind of walking glow stick?" Zarian's vents hummed with amusement, a low vibration like distant wind chimes. "I am Lyrian, a bioarchivist from the Vega Outpost. And yes, Elder, the comfort is yours by right. I've navigated spore storms. A standard seat poses no peril to me." Harlan stared, then barked a laugh that dissolved into a wince. "Well, I'll be damned. Never thought I'd owe a favor to a green giant. Harlan Voss, at your service." He accepted the holoticket with a firm handshake, human grip strength surprisingly tenacious, and Zarian took the miner's general pass in exchange. The boarding attendant, a sleek android with multifaceted optic sensors, processed the transfer with a neutral whir, though its logs no doubt flagged the anomaly for curiosity's sake. Zarian settled into the narrow general berth, sandwiched between a chattering flock of avian traders from Rigel 4 and a brooding silicon-based merchant whose crystalline form clicked rhythmically against the armrest. He couldn't suppress a trill of satisfaction, replaying the relief in Harlan's eyes. Small gestures his Lyrian upbringing taught wove the strongest ecological bonds. The transit dragged on, hyperspace folds rippling the shuttle's viewports like disturbed water. Zarian dozed in fits, reviewing hollow journals on his wrist pad, treatises on symbiotic fungal networks, and stretched his limbs in the cramped aisle during wakeful spells. On one such prowl, he encountered Harlan in the communal galley, the human easing into a chair with a sigh of bliss. "Ah, the generous glow stick himself," Harlan boomed, his voice carrying over the murmur of refueling passengers. "This pod's a dream. Feels like my back's been reborn. Can't thank you enough, son." Zarian poured a vial of nutrient mist from the dispenser, inhaling it through his vents with a contented sigh. "The balance is restored, Elder. What draws you from the outposts?" "Frontier life suits few." Harlan chuckled, sipping a steaming mug of what smelled like fermented root extract. "Just wrapped a haul on Vega deep core drilling for rare isotopes. 2 years of dodging quakes and haggling with corporate overseers on yield quotas. Tough gig, but pays the med bills for this creaky frame." "Commendable," Zarian replied, his patterns glowing appreciatively. "Isotopes fuel the star's engines, but only when harvested in harmony with the substrate. Your words carry the weight of experience." Harlan eyed him shrewdly, his pain-faded features sharpening. "You talk like a poet, not a lab rat. What's your story, Greenie?" Zarian settled onto a perch stool, his levitation adjusting for balance. "I archive the unseen webs of life on frontier worlds, microbes that bind soil, spores that terraform atmospheres. On Vega, I'm mediated between human extractors and the native lichen hives. Progress without rupture, as my archives decree." Harlan nodded slowly, respect etching deeper lines on his brow. "Sounds noble. Me, I just swing the drill. But hell, we both keep the galaxy spinning." Their exchange flowed like a shared current, Zarian gleaning tales of human grit, Harlan absorbing Lyrian lore of symbiotic cycles. The Elder's insights into subsurface dynamics sparked fresh entries in Zarian's pad cross-species knowledge as the ultimate archive. Humanity's rush, Harlan mused over a second mug. Ain't about greed, mostly. It's survival. Pushing edges cause standing still means getting left behind. But damn if it don't scar the bones of worlds. A duality, Zarian trilled thoughtfully, his green hue deepening to forest tones. Destruction and renewal intertwined. Critique or commendation? Harlan grinned, teeth yellowed by outpost suns. "Bit of both, kid. Your kind's out the long view, millennia in your vents, or whatever. Us? We burn bright, crash hard." The shuttle's chime interrupted. Deceleration to Concord Central Hub. Secure for docking. As they parted, Harlan clasped Zarian's forearm, careful of the sensitive vents, with surprising warmth. "Won't forget this, Zarian Kell. Stars align funny sometimes." Docking at the vast hub, a colossal ring station orbiting Sol Prime, humanity's cradle, Zarian gathered his spore-sealed kit and joined the exodus. He spotted Harlan at the ramp's end, shuffling despite the pod's ministrations. "Permit me," Zarian offered, extending a supportive limb. "Lean as needed." "Too kind." Harlan accepted, grip steadying on Zarian's firm green arm. They'd scarcely cleared the ramp when a phalanx of uniformed humans in crisp navy tunics barred their path. Their postures screamed protocol, rigid spines, vigilant scans from augmented optics. The throng hushed, murmurs rippling like disturbed ether. "Blast it," Zarian murmured, his glow dimming to cautious olive. "Have I violated transit codes by aiding you?" Before Harlan could retort, the line parted, unveiling a poised woman in her prime, mid-40s by human reckoning, with sharp features framed by auburn hair coiled in a severe bun. Her olive skin gleamed under the hub's sterile lights, hazel eyes sharp as survey lasers. She wore a tailored envoy's robe, silver-threaded with Concord sigils, hugging a frame honed by zero-G drills and diplomatic marathons. Her face lit with unfeigned delight as she swept toward Harlan. "Father!" she cried, enveloping him in a fierce hug that drew a grunt from his mended back. "Thank the void you're safe." She pivoted to Zarian, those piercing eyes appraising him with keen intellect. "And you, the Lyrian who surrendered his pod. Father come to head with tales of your grace." Zarian's vents fluttered, bioluminescence sparking sapphire flecks. "A trifle, envoy." Any archivist would extend the courtesy. Her lips curved in a wry smile, revealing a dimple that softened her commander's edge. "If you would, I assure you. I'm Lira Voss, chief Xeno-diplomat for the Concord's Frontier Accord, and you've aided not some drifter, but my irascible father and former Undersecretary of Resource Packs." Zarian's elongated eyes, compound facets that caught light in prismatic sheens, widened. "Unbeknownst to me, which elevates the deed's intent." Harlan snorted. "Told you he was a poet, Lara. Traveled incognito to dodge this circus." He waved at the escorts, who stood like statues. With cause, Alara shot back, then refocused on Zarian. "We're convening a summit tomorrow eve, bridging human claims with the Zorath enclave over Epsilon drift rights. Would you grace us as our honored observer? Father's keen to resume your discourse in civilized environs." Zarian glanced between the grizzled miner and the formidable diplomat, her hazel gaze holding a spark that transcended protocol. "I would be elevated by the invitation." "Splendid," Alara said, her eyes lingering with subtle warmth. "To leave, then?" As they withdrew amid their detail, Zarian lingered, pondering the currents he'd stirred. One pod swap, and he'd plunged into humanity's intricate webs. The summit chamber occupied a spire in the Concord's diplomatic helix, a towering edifice of smart glass and adaptive alloys that shifted hues to suit attendee spectra. Zarian smoothed his formal vestment, a flowing mantle of woven algal fibers and deep teal delivered to his transient quarters with Alara's embossed missive, anticipating your insights. "Identity and clearance?" queried a human sentry at the threshold, scanner humming over Zarian's green form. Zarian Kell, bioarchivist, guest of Chief Xeno-diplomat Alara Voss and ex-Undersecretary Harlan Voss. The guard stance eased. "The Lyrian benefactor." "Expected, sir." "This way." He was ushered through salons where envoys from myriad realms networked, feathered Zorath traders bartering with silicon sentience from Regulus Minor, the air alive with pheromones and subsonic rumbles. Lumens cycled to balance visual needs, while a symphony of crystal flutes and plasma drones wove ambient harmony. Zarian Kell, Harlan's gravelly hail, cut through. The elder approached, gait spry in a fresh tunic. "Glad you made it. This shindig's drier than Vega dust without your stories." "Nor would I absent myself," Zarian replied, accepting a flask of ionized vapor from Servodrone. "You appear revitalized." "Hub med pods are miracles," Harlan quipped, his eyes twinkling. "And you cut a fine figure in that getup, like a walking aurora." Ere Zarian could demur, a Concord security operative, stocky, buzzcut, in matte black fatigues, intercepted. "Archivist Kell, a word, if you please." Harlan nodded amiably. "Gotta schmooze the Zorath rep anyway. Catch you later, Greenie." The operative, Lieutenant Mira Kane, per her badge, steered Zarian to a shadowed alcove, voice a confidential murmur. Unusual chatter in the Voss circle. Coded bursts to fringe contacts, off-schedule huddles with enclave proxies. "We need eyes inside." Zarian's gloam muted to sage. "And circumstance cast me into their orbit." "Precisely." Kane's gaze was steel. "Cultivate proximity to the chief diplomat. She's taken a shine. Relay anomalies. You know, operative, but access like yours? Priceless for a Concord patriot." Zarian's vents tightened, ethical archives clashing. "I chronicle life, not intrigue, Lieutenant. You're a frontier vet with unparalleled reach into alien webs. One alert, and we pull you. She palmed him a nanobeacon, sleek as a spore. Double tap for evac. Air protest brewed. Kane vanished into the throng, leaving Zarian with the device's chill weight and roiling thoughts. There you stand, a silken voice purred behind. He turned to Lira, resplendent in a sapphire gown that draped like liquid mercury, accentuating her athletic poise. Her auburn waves cascaded loosely, hazel eyes alight with intrigue. Feared you'd evaded the labyrinth. Merely absorbing the helix's splendor, Zarian trilled, staving off Kane's echo. Your enclave rivals the spore veils of Lira Prime. Wait till you behold Epsilon drift, she said, linking her arm through his limb with effortless intimacy, sending a novel tingle through his dermal sensors. Its crystal spires would silence even a Lyrian chronicler. An enticement. The query escaped unbidden, his glow flaring viridian. Her hazel depths danced. Potentially, would you yield to it? Lyrian customs favored fluid alliances, but Alera's candor bridged voids. No mistaking the allure in her gaze. Contingent on companionship, he countered, matching her forthrightness, patterns swirling emerald eddies. A grin tugged her lips. I'd orchestrate an immersion unparalleled. The innuendo lingered, charged as a plasma arc. She navigated him through the gala, presenting him to envoys. Zorath elders probing his microbial lore, Regulan crystals resonating queries via vibe pulses. Her touch lingered on his arm, brushes deliberate yet artless. Father spoke of a collaborative Voslerian initiative, Zarian noted, pausing at a viewport framing Sol Prime's azure swirl. Partly, she conceded, drawing nearer, her scent evoking sun-warmed stone and spice. Your symbiotic archiving dovetails with my Epsilon reclamation proposal. But her timbre dipped, though not the sole lure for your presence. Kane's caveat resounded, yet proximity muddled vigilance. And the others? Humans intrigue me, she breathed, fingertips grazing his vestment. Your innate harmony, fostering bond sans ledger. Rare in Concord halls. We're scarcely singular, Zarian demurred. Symbiosis is life's axiom. Would I yield so instinctively? Her eyes locked, unyielding. Humans tally gains from cradle. You extended aid from pure equilibrium. It's invigorating. Harlan's approach with Zorath dignitaries severed the thread. Ah, Alera, the Enclave queries flux trade clauses. She exhaled, fingers trailing. Duty summons. But our dialogue persists, Zarian Kell. Nascent, perhaps, but vital. As she glided away, Zarian tracked her, schism twixt affinity and apprehension, Kane's charge and instinct's pull. Whatever intrigue afoot, he'd ensnared its nexus. 3 orbits post-summit, Zarian occupied the biodome of the Survey Frigate Harmony, en route to Epsilon Drift's contested nebula. The dome's viewport framed Sol receding, a sapphire moat dwarfed by Void's maw. Savoring the farewell, Alera's timbre resonated from the hatch. He pivoted, finding her in leisure garb, a loose tunic in obsidian and gold, modest yet tracing her form's vitality, merely archiving the vista. Departure from Sol Prime arrived swifter than anticipated. Doubts on the drift venture? She joined him, proximity yielding her warmth's subtle gradient against his cooler vents. None. A nebula-shrouded world rife with factional tugs, prime for archival chaos. A contested haven of crystal ecosystems, myriad claimants. My notion of respite. Alera's laugh pealed like chimestones. Human quips amid peril, endlessly captivating. It's our bulwark, and that audacious faith we mend all with will alone. Perchance, not unfounded. Her hazel scrutiny intensified. Your symbiotic expertise is drift salve. Zorath cartels and Kaldari syndicates teeter on rupture's brink. And humanity's stance. Facilitators she elucidated. Impartial stewards sans claims. Our stake, ecological and equitable. A nuance in her inflection hinted undercurrents. Air probing, the frigate's strobes dimmed. Jump threshold neared. Brace, Alera urged, palm on his limb. Human folds differ. Ours sinks neural webs. Jarring for Lyrians. I've traversed spore winds, Zarian assured. Not akin, her clasp firmed. Concord weaves interface biomes uniquely. The chime told, fold in 30 cycles. Secure. She piloted him to a contour lounge, claiming adjacency. Seal optics, attune respiration. Fold zeroed. Zarian sensed a synaptic tug, as if archives fragmented into ethereal threads. Nameless hues bloomed in his mind's eye, consciousness splintering into fractal echoes. Abruptly, surcease. He vented sharply, facets refocusing on Alera's anxious visage. Intact, she queried, palm cooling his brow ridge. Profound, he rasped timbre frayed. You endured admirably, she praised, tone earnest. Most off-worlders reel with disarray. Fortunate me, Zarian quipped, composure resurging. Why the variance? A veil crossed her features. Neural harmonics. Concord folds calibrate for our synaptic density, alien to Lyrian flows. How so? Alera paused, resolve crystallizing. Time unveils. To my archive, something vital. The archive spanned the frigate's core, consoles thrumming with gene sequencers and hollow webs. A bulkhead bore culture vats aglow with engineered phyla. Humans seemed terrestrial. Alera commenced, igniting a spectral render. Yet our neuromatrix diverges profoundly. The projection world, a human neural cartography, laced with quantum filaments. We arose from neural symbiotes in primal seas. Our synapses harbor traits akin to certain neural sponges, diffuse, regenerative. Intriguing, Zarian trilled, genuinely ensnared. But linkage to folds, or my summons hither? Alera's hazel met his prismatic gaze. In 8 cycles, our arm passes a neural storm, recurs quadrennially. Harmless aurora to most. To humans? Cataclysmic. The storm rends your matrix, Zarian inferred. Affirm, she confirmed, timbre steady yet laced with dread. Synapses destabilize. We fragment into cognitive voids. Clinical, but terror underpinned. Scholars quest remedies eons. And Lyrians proffer the cipher. Your neural adaptability astounds. Lyrian archives boast synaptic plasticity unmatched, echoes of spore webs that reknit midstorm. She neared. Father's calm of your equilibrium intrigued. Probing your annals revealed drifts crystal lattices, key to neural shields. Your chronicling aids harvest sands rift, averting war. Zarian assimilated, grasping Alera's stakes profundity. Yet manipulation eluded. Her candor forged affinity. Why divulge now? No veils twixt us, she murmured, proximity electric. Initial draw, strategic. Now, her timbre hushed, authentically unbound. The avowal suspended, potent. Zarian extended a limb, drawn beyond archives or mandates. Their forms converged, her warmth melding his cool vents, her essence evoking Terran gales post-thunder. Parting breathless, Alera whispered, I've parsed Lyrian rites, but embodiment diverges. Favorable divergence? Zarian queried, limb encircling her waist. Decidedly, she affirmed, grin igniting his glow. Though deeper archival beckons. As convergence renewed, klaxons wailed. Alert, anomalous craft inbound. Stations, urgent. Drill false. Alera's joy transmuted to vigilance. None should intercept here, she stated, lunging for calms. Aberration. Zarian trailed, bond fortified amid rupture. Whatever menaced, solidarity prevailed. The harmony's nexus buzzed, ordered frenzy. As Zarian and Alera entered, Concord crew darted twixt spectral grids and neural interfaces. Central, Commander Reese Torin, broad-shouldered, salt-pepper beard framing a scarred jaw, oversaw threat holograms. Status, Alera commanded, morphing to envoy's steel. 4 Keldari interceptors, pincer vector, Torin reported, timbre even. Demanding full drop for probe. Zarian scan projections, Keldari craft, sleek obsidian wedges, energy lances primed, flanked escape arcs. Ambush primed, he observed. No happenstance. Concur, Lira grinned. Hail them, Commander. The primary grid bloomed a Keldari warlord. Not humanoid, but a lattice of adaptive chitin. Ebony exoskeletal plates shifting like living armor, multifaceted eyes gleaming crimson. Spines crowned its crest. Uniform festooned with neural trophies, severed synaptic cores. I am Overlord Sakura of the Keldari Dominion. It rasped, voice a synaptic screech. Your frigate violates drift approaches. Yield for neural audit. Alera advanced. Overlord, Chief Xenodiplomat Alera Voss, Concord. Sanctioned survey to Epsilon Drift, Council endorsed. Intent Pacific. Council writ voids and drift voids. Sakara dismissed, plates clicking. Intel posits neural weaponry for drift entrenchment. Baseless, Alera parried. Pure survey. The warlord's eyes pulsed. Then audit poses no bar. Comply in 5 units, or we sever drives, ingress forcibly. Links severed. Vectors. Torin pivoted to Alera. Outpace futile, she assessed. Ingress exposes shield research. Keldari leverage for Dominion. Zarian interjected. Permit discourse. Nexus gazes swiveled. With deference, archivist, Torin cautioned, delicate neural brink. Precisely, Zarian urged. Keldari anticipate concord calculus, predictable lattices. Lyrian flux disrupts. Alera praised, then assented. Apartment Keldari honors synaptic duals, raw interface. Torin queried dubiously. Schema. Proffer my boarding as neutral chronicler, Zarian outlined. Keldari prize direct, synaptic link, honorable. Aboard, gauge intense, forge parity. Perilous, Alera objected. Discovery ties you to us. Then narrate truth, Zarian countered. Lyrian archivist to drift, hitching Concord passage for symbiote exchange. Verity intact. Torin and Alera conferred visually. Viable, Torin yielded warily. 2 units to retort. Alera drew Zarian aside, timbre urgent. Reckless. We could feint ignite cascade. Zarian negated. Equity demands candor. Lyrian way, chronicle unvarnished. Their facets aligned, solicitude, burgeoning faith. Granted, she yielded. But neural tag embeds. Aberration, we trace. Thus you anchor me, he trilled reassuringly. 19 units hence, Zarian boarded a Concord pod, docking the prime Keldari interceptor. The behemoth menaced, all jagged facets and synaptic emitters, hull devouring star gleam like neural sync. Alera's calm whispered, Keldari prize synaptic dominance, abhor fracture. Yield not, but probe no hierarchies. Acknowledged, Zarian modulated, poise tempered. And Alera, endure. Pod seals parted, unveiling twin Keldari sentinels. Kite in towers, blades grafted to limbs, optics scanning invasively. Advance, one synaptic bust. Corridors menaced. Dim neural pulses exposed synapse banks. Bulkheads etched with synaptic glyphs, trophies of conquered minds. Atmosphere thick, acrid with ozone, taxing Zarian's vents. At terminus, Sakara loomed on a neural dais, subordinates interfacing grids. Lyrian envoy, a sentinel intoned. Sakara's plates shifted, crimson eyes dissecting. Anomaly. Concord dispatches archives, not diplomats. Not diplomacy, Zarian riposted levelly. Biochronicler to drift, auditing crystal symbiomes for Lyrian vaults. Concord ferries as exchange courtesy. Lira claims no drift writ. Sakara clicked, circling with predatory grace. Council deems neutral, pending archive. Zarian held optic lock, facets unflinching. Council, synaptic frail, parceling neural wealth to inferiors. Sakara's spines flared. Perchance, Zarian conceded, heeding Alera's synaptic on deference. Yet averts needless fractures. Dominion shuns war o'er nebula. Sakara's screech grated amusement. You interface boldly, ensnared in Keldari webs. With verity, Zarian parried. Lyrian axiom. Sakara's posture micro-shifted. Intrigue in the tilt. Lyrian's, it mused. Youthful flux, yet archive vast. Dominion views as synaptic peril. We chronicle as allies, Zarian amended. No rift with Keldari, yet yoked to concord. To equilibrium and evolution, Zarian refined. Drift archives enrich all. Synaptic meds for Dominion hives. Sakara pondered, then pivoted. Detain, pending verification. Falsehoods forfeit your archive. As Sakara withdrew, Zarian's exterior chronicled calm, innards plotting flows. Gambit yielded cycles, but captivity loomed. Detained in a neural cell, bare, synaptic fields humming restraint. For spans, the hatch yielded to Sakara, flanked by honor guard chitin, crests etched with right marks. Assertions partial true, Sakara declared, optics probing. Concord bears no armaments detectable. As chronicled, Zarian modulated. Yet intel insists Drift harbors synaptic ploys. Zarian's glow steadied. Resolution. Sakara's plates gleamed. Propose right-honoring Keldari webs, respecting protocols. The synapthec. Unfamiliar, Zarian admitted. Trial of neural worth. Sakara elucidated. Dispute yields champion to affirm claims via synaptic gauntlet. Chill vented through Zarian's core. Components. Triad assays. Synaptic fortitude. Endurance against flux storms. Cunning under neural siege. Sakara's eyes pulsed avarice. Triumph. Concord proceeds unvexed. Defeat. Implications synaptic. Refusal yields ingress. Survival dubious. Zarian evoked a Lira. Humanity's neural doom. The pod swaps ripple. I affirm. Sakara's plates stilled. Astonish. Then approbation. Rare. Non-Keldari seldom proffer. Rarer endure. Lyrian's archive anomaly. Zarian reposted. I chronicle continuance. So etched, Sakara acknowledged near respect in the click. Assay commences in one unit. Post-exit, Zarian linked harmony. Alera's hologram bloomed, hazel fraught. Zarian, vital spiked. Whole. Resilient, he soothed, glow steady. Complication, synapthec invoked. Alarm creased her brow. Neural worth. Zarian, impossible. Calibrated for Keldari chitin, flux tolerance. You'd shatter. Perchance, he conceded, yet sole conduit. Refusal exposes all. Alera's resolve cracked. Alternatives exist. Equity's path direct, he echoed prior. Lyrian adaptability. Our chronicle's core. Silence spanned. Synapthec triune. Fortitude first, flux second, siege third. Counsel. Keldari exalt unyielding webs. Fracture veiled never. Etched. Zarian, return. Neural intact. The plea waited, vents surging. Archive assures. Links severed. Zarian attuned. Years chronicling volatile biomes, stealing resolve. Chitin outmatched raw, but Lyrian flux, reweave mid-fracture, might chronicle victory. Sentinels conveyed to a vast neural vault. Tears encircling a synaptic arena. Scores of Keldari packed benches, plates rasping anticipation. Atmosphere denser, synaptic hum oppressive. Sakara centered beside a chitin colossus. Obsidian-plated behemoth, limbs like neural whips, eyes abyssal voids. Lyrian affirms synapthec, Sakara synaptic proclaimed. Fortitude's foe, Vexer, Dominion synaptic lord. The Titan advanced, dissecting Zarian with disdain. Assay basal, Sakara detailed. Neural clash, fortitude, interface. Yield when webs yield or affirm cessation. Zarian doffed mantle, facets bared, slender green frame dwarfed by Vexer's bulk, yet vents poised. Initiate, Sakara decreed. Vexer lunged, synaptic lash cracking ether. Zarian levitated aside, tendril grazing, searing his dermal field. Arena rasped approbation. Raw dominion unmatchable, Zarian knew. Yield to flux. As Vexer recoiled for strike, Zarian pulsed a vent burst, disorienting harmonics, exploiting Keldari auditory spines. Cycles blurred. Zarian danced flux, levitating dodges, precise pulses targeting synaptic joints gleaned from archives. Vexer bellowed, plates fracturing under unanticipated cadence. You evade, archive worm, a spectator synaptic sneered. Zarian ignored, attuning Vexor's tells, spine twitch pre-lash, optic flicker pre-faint. When Vexor surged, Zarian countered, levitated low, limb lancing of ventral node, chitin nexus vulnerable per xenologs. Vexor spasmed, webs stuttering. Zarian amplified, node pulses chaining, retreating air reprisal. Arena hushed, astounded by Lyrian precision. Vexor rallied, cautious, void eyes grudging regard. Clash endured, Zarian's vents labored, facets dimming. Vexor's lash clipped, hurling him a deck, synaptic feedback lancing. Agony as neural fire. Rasp swelled and scented. As Vexor loomed terminal, Ilera's echo. Unyielding webs paramount. Vents flaring defiant jade. Zarian rose, facets locked. Chronicles persist, he challenged, timbre carrying. Vexor halted, void eyes widening. Then, chitin quivered, rasping mirth. Lyrian endures, Vexor proclaimed. Interfaces with honor, flux cunning. Affirms worth. Arena murmured shock. Sakara interceded, plates neutral. Fortitude essayed. Lyrian advances to flux. Escorted to recuperate, Zarian caught synaptic whispers. Not frailty, but anomalous resilience, tactical reweave, unyielding chronicle. In neural bay, chitin meds knit wounds, ache tempered by archival triumph. Wanna say, duo loom, he mused. Ilera waits. Flux essays endurance gains synaptic extremes. Sakara intoned spans hence. Zarian poised at flux vault ingress, frame still tender. Yet Keldari Regan accelerated coherence. Keldari forged in neural maelstrom. Human psyches deem cataclysmic, Sakara pursued. Vault emulates Genesis hives, synaptic tempests of Keld Prime. Hatch yielded hell. Writhing plasma veils, synaptic arcs leaping like neural vipers, ether thick with disruptive pulses. Task, span to Nexus pylon, Sakara directed. Flux escalates, intensity, dissonance as advance. Zarian surveyed. 40 spans, treacherous, neural bridges o'er arc pits, unstable flux nodes, no shield from dissonance. Impressive, a timbre, Vexor with cadre. Few off chitin essay, Vexor clicked. Rarer chronicle terminus. Span, Zarian queried Sakara. Till chronicle, rupture, or yield. Sakara rasped, plates smirking. Zarian nodded, doffing outer weave, fashioning vent filters from fibers, dampened in coolant sump, binding limbs, brow. Synaptic buffers, primitive. Archaic flux trick, an officer dismissed. Efficacious, Vexor countered optics keen. Zarian neared ingress, dissonance lancing facets. Evoking Ilera, humanity's storm doom, pods equilibrium. Deep vent, he surged in a maelstrom. Dissonance assailed, synaptic barrage, scorching vents, webs fraying at edges. Filters vaporized swift, yet buffered initial surge. Ether thinned, acrid, searing coherence with each cycle. Span by span, he chronicled. Initial lattice stable, arc preceded by ether tremors. Bridges resonated harmonic. Step to flux rhythm, evade rupture. Keldari essay, not mere endurance. Observation, adaptation. Insights accelerated, though dissonance mounted, webs straining. Vision fractured, vents rasping. Midspan, escalation. Arcs intensified, dissonance harmonics clashing, webs unraveling threads. Zarian repulsed filters with residual coolant. Evaporation instant in tempest. 3/4 traversed, cataclysm. Bridge node destabilized, limb plunging into arc pool. Agony detonated. Synaptic blaze charring dermal lattice. Facet screamed as he wrenched free, vents venting smoke. Observation rasped, expectant yield. Rational, yield. Yet Zarian Kel chronicled anomaly. Lyrian, symbiote of spore fluxes, reweaving mid-rupture. Humanity's grit echoed. He'd archived their ice vaults, plasma forges. Teeth gnashing, vestigial Lyrian trait. Zarian improvised stabilizer from debris lattice, limping resolute. Each advanced neural torment, yet unyielding. Terminus pylon attained. Limb sealing nexus. Triumph pulsed air. Dissonance's veil descended. Awoken neural bay. Char reduced to throb. Chitin healer applied Regangel. Archive stirs, it buzzed. Sakara neared. Optics appraising. Flux assayed. Rare off Keldari terminus. Successor. Zarian queried. Timbre dissonance guard. Reweave. Siege assays dawn cycle. Sakara paused. Concord envoy seeks interface. Grid bloomed Lira, hazel fraud. Zarian, coherence fluxed perilously. Viable. Chronicled, he trilled faintly, glow rekindling. Flux surmounted. Precedent for Lyrian, her eyes flared. Siege looms. Affirm, strategic neural, he anticipated. Not mere tactics, opponent's web exploited. Dialogue truncated as Sakara re-entered. Sufficeth. Archive, reknits pre-siege. Grid dimmed. Zarian glimpsed cadre beyond Sakara. Optics curious. His assays echoed shipwebs. Dawn unit conveyed to synaptic nexus. Grids aglow. Tridine neural board dominating. Sakara awaited with elder Keldari. Plates dulled to ash silver. Spines etched eons. Neural sage lyric, Sakara presented. Undefiled in synapthec siege. The ancient inclined crest. Archived your flux, Lyrian. Chaotic webs, yet potent. Siege. Neural hegemony, Sakara detailed. Command spectral armada, gains sage. Triumph. Flagship rupture or yield affirm. Zarian appraised board. Nebula lattice. World shards, flux belts, dissonance clouds. His cerulean armada edged one flank. Lyrics crimson opposed. Potency equilibrated, Sakara noted. Variance, web strategy. Zarian attuned interface, noting Keldari doctrine. Rigid hierarchies, preset synaptic links. Initiate. Lyric deployed envelop. Textbook dominion. Webs converging crush. Zarian diverged. Fragmented armada to flux squads. Dispersing into nebula veils. Shards for shroud. Lyrian scatters. A spectator buzzed. Nay, Vexer countered. Reweaves. Ensued synaptic ballet. Zarian squads harried Lyric's core. Swift neural strikes. Retreats air counterlance. Leveraged nebula quirks. Dissonance mirages. Flux siphons for ambuscade. Lyric excelled, adapting webs thrice. Yet Zarian fluxed anew, denying set clash Keldari craved. Potent, Lyric buzzed post-daring siphon. Armada slingshot via shardgrav, infiltrating rear webs. No rival interfaces thus. Lyrian's chronicle victory unbound. Zarian reposted. Siege spanned units, intricate web dance. Cadre swelled. Recorders capturing Lyrian flux tactics. Climax. Zarian lured Lyric into dissonance nebula. Sensors fractured. Unveiling flagship, veiled as auxiliary. Synaptic lock on Crimson Nexus. Hegemony. Zarian intoned. Lyric pondered board, then inclined. Yield. Archive masterful. Arena rasped awe. Sakara advanced. Plates impassive. Synapthec etched. Lyrian prevails triad. As pledged frigate to drift unvexed. Cadre crested spines. Respect right. Translation needless. Escorted to pod prep. Vexer sync pace. Impression synaptic Lyrian, the Titan clicked. Youth cadre murmurs, formal Lyra Dominion links. Welcome Chronicle, Zarian replied. Lyrian Keldari webs align, unforeseen. Perchance, Vexer grated mirth. Your flux threatens, or allies. Valued as ladder, Zarian reposted. Vexer rasped. Indeed. Say flux, Zarian Kel. Reinterface imminent. Units hence, pod ferrying to harmony. Zarian reflected diplomatic flux. Mission, drift passage secured. Greater, nascent Lyra Keldari accord, galaxy's neural might. Harmony loomed. Alera's await evoked glow. Equilibrium's gestures birthed grandest archives. 8 cycles hence. Zarian perched biodome of Solara Spire. Humanity's neural citadel orbiting Terra Nova. watching Stormbelt's iridescent veil traverse atmosphere harmless. Shield from drift crystals pulsed azure, neutralizing synaptic shred. Beauty in peril's guise, Lira murmured, adjoining viewport. Doom, transmuted spectacle. Zarian's limb entwined hers, green contrasting olive, facets harmonious. Humanity's grace discerns splendor in flux. And Lyrian? Transforming flux to equilibrium. She leaned, form melding. Absent you, neural void. Past 8. Post-drift harvest frenzy. Zarian forged parity framework. Human, Lyrian, Keldari. Drift from contested to exemplar, each fluxing strengths. Human resolve. Lyrian symbiote, Keldari dominion. Overlord Sakara's dispatch. Zarian queried. Lira nodded. Dominion cadre Dawn unit for pact seal. Insist your presence. Honored, Zarian trilled, acclimating diplomatic mantle. Vexer as inaugural Keldari envoy to Lira Vale, Lira grinned. Meld's rematch, non-right. Zarian's glow peeled. Decline that flux. Silence wove, storm veils dancing. Podswap's echo. One equilibrium birthed cosmic reweave. Father summons pre-right, Lira broke. Guide, Zarian ascended. Traverse Solara's neural vaults. Crystalline conduits pulsing data streams. Spire a synaptic symphony suspended against Nova's gales. Harlan awaited sanctum, spry in envoy silks. Salvation's chroniclers he boomed. Seat. Pre-fest rites. Seated, Harlan ignited pact hollow. Accord binding triune. Council dubs epical. Rivals yoked mutual flux, resource harmony. New neural dawn. Genesis, Zarian acknowledged, yet archives expand. True, Harlan leaned. Hence summons. Zarian, your equilibrium salvaged humanity. Forged pacts benefiting voids untold. Concord tenders formal archive. Unneeded, Zarian demurred, but Harlan waved. Essential, Harlan insisted. Dawn Pact, named honorary neural citizen, Premier Lyrian. And inaugurate Interflux archivist, Bridgewebs. Zarian stilled, facets prisming. Lira's palm squeezed, hazel proud. More, Harlan pursued. Concord sanctions Lyritera flux post. You, inaugural. Humbled, Zarian modulated. Yet no diplomat, chronicler. Harlan chuckled. Negotiated Keldari peace. Archive salvation via symbiote. Qualifies beyond envoys. Apt, Lira softened. Your flux, Zarian, equilibrium beyond divides. Zarian pondered. Podswim cascaded rightful, path archived latent. Affirm, he yielded, conditional. Flux twixt Lira and Terra. Preserve Lyrian roots, forge bridges. Harlan's grin creased. Sage, stipulation. Seal. Post-Harlan, Zarian and Lira wandered Solara's symbio groves. Terraflora fused alien phyla. Dawn lumens gilding fronds. Pensive, Lira noted, fingers tracing his patterns. Contemplating Flux's cascade, Zarian trilled. One pod, cosmic reweave. Void might have synced alternate, she posited. Or nay, grateful your Lyrian equilibrium. Halted by neural pool, biolum plants undulating currents. Lira faced, hazel grave. Query vital Zarian. Pulse quickened. Attune. Human right. Neural bond. Akin Lyrian confluence, permanent flux. Spans voids, bridges biomes. Palms clasped. Commit cross stars, divergences. Proffer bond. Zarian's glow surged o'er it. Affirm, she confirmed, olive flushing rose. If precipitous, or divides daunt, he sealed with convergence, drawing close. Parting, breathless, thrice affirm. Equilibrium eternal. Dawn unit gleamed. Solara's grand nexus brimmed envoys myriad, witnessing pact seal. Triad day is central. Zarian, in hybrid vestment, algal teal, fused neural threads, stood Lira adjacent as Harlan orated. Today not mere salvation, Harlan proclaimed, but neural dawn. Pod equilibrium, twixt strangers burgeoned alliance enriching fluxes. Harlan spoke, Zarian spied kin, Sakara's cadre, Vexer solemn, Concord aids, Canamid. Pre-pact, Harlan pursued. Concord honors Lyrian, whose equilibrium birthed this cycle. Guided forefront, Harlan intoned. Zarian Kell. For humanity's salvage, pact flux, name honorary neural citizen, inaugurate interflux archivist. Neural medallion draped, drift crystal forged, symbolizing webs. Applause cascaded, Zarian to Deus core. Unscripted, yet facets beheld triune, words flowed. 8 cycles passed, I yielded pod for another's flux, he commenced. Basal chronicle, any Lyrian might etch. Ne'er foreseen terminus. Glanced Lira, strength drawn. Archives teach, species might not armaments or dominions. Equilibrium's capacity, piercing divides to shared symbiomes. Lyrians, humans, Keldari, fluxing same void, seeking harmony, coherence bond. To Keldari, yields fortitude, unyielding. To humans, demands innovation, envoy finesse. To Lyrian feeds, beseeches pod yield to pain kin. Pact sealed ceremonial. Marks etched, cheers thundering crystalline vaults. Fest ensued. Sakara approached, less menace festooned, imposing undiminished. Kel, it clicked incline. Dominion tenders Lira Prime visitation, archival duties. Delight etched, Zarian replied, genuine flux. Your synapthec legend youth webs, Sakara admitted. Lyrian flux, reweave o'er rigid. They murmur alliances. Hope endures, Zarian said wry. Though flux vault near fractured me. Sakara, grated mirth. Legend's core. As withdrew, Alaris synced, arm linking. More webs? Evidently Lyra legend, Zarian peeled. Deserved, she nestled shoulder. Triune hero. No hero, he demurred. Chronicler who yielded pod. Therein etched cosmic niche. She pivoted, hazel mirroring fests. Our niche. Amid pact triumph forged, Zarian chronicled arc. From general birth to alliance nexus, chance elder to stellar bond. Profound fluxes birth smallest equilibria. Pod gestures rippling, unpredicted. In yielding pod, meant etching belonging eternal. The grand nexus of Solara spire thrummed with the afterglow of the pact ceiling, its crystalline vaults resonating with the harmonious clash of voices from a dozen realms. Lyrian envoys, there forms a cascade of shifting greens and blues, mingled with human diplomats in tailored neural suits, while Keldari representatives, chitinous figures with spines subtly retracted in a gesture of tentative truce, clustered near the refreshment alcoves, their synaptic rasps translating into cautious barters over crystal-infused elixirs. Zarian Kell stood at the periphery, his emerald skin aglow with a soft, contented viridian, the neural medallion from Harlan Voss heavy, yet comforting against his chest. It pulsed faintly in sync with his vents, a living archive of the Triune Alliance he'd unwittingly midwifed. Alara Voss remained at his side, her arm looped through his limb with a possessiveness that felt both novel and innate. Her auburn hair, freed from its summit bun, cascaded in loose waves that caught the spire's adaptive lumens, turning them to threads of molten copper. She wore a post-ceremony gown of shimmering obsidian silk, its neural threads weaving subtle patterns that mirrored her mood, now a steady ripple of azure contentment. "You're brooding again," she murmured, her hazel eyes flicking up to his prismatic facets. "Even amid triumph, your archives never rest." Zarian's patterns swirled in a gentle eddy, a Lyrian equivalent of a smile. Not brooding, beloved, chronicling. This moment, the first breath of a new flux. How does one etch the unetchable? The pact binds worlds, yet its tendrils already quest further. She squeezed his limb, her warmth seeping through his cooler dermal lattice. "Then let us quest together." Father mentioned a private alcove, away from the envoys and their endless synaptic probes. A chance to celebrate our confluence. The word sent a fresh surge through Zarian's vents, his glow flaring to a deeper jade. Their bond right, affirmed mere hours past in the symbio groves, was no mere human vow or Lyrian equilibrium seal. It was a confluence, a ritual fusion of neural webs and symbiotic flows, where partners exchanged micro-strands of essence. Hers a lattice of human resolve, his a spore thread of Lyrian adaptability. They'd enacted it under the neural pool's biolum, her palm pressed to his vent core, his facets locking onto her synaptic crown. The exchange had been electric, a cascade of shared memories. Her childhood drills on frontier outposts, his spore winds on Vega. Now, bound, they felt each other's echoes, her grit in his resolve, his flux in her strategies. Lead, he trilled softly, levitating a fraction to match her stride as they slipped from the nexus into a service conduit. The spire's architecture accommodated such escapes. Its smart alloys parted like water, reforming seamlessly behind them. The alcove Harlan had reserved was a pocket of engineered serenity, a dome chamber with viewports framing Terra Nova's storm-swept oceans below, walls woven from adaptive flora that exhaled a calming mist of ionized oxygen. A low table bore a spread, human vintages alongside Lyrian nutrient vials and Keldari synaptic stimulants, a nod to the pack's diversity. Harlan awaited, lounging on a contour couch with a tumbler of amber liquor in hand. His weathered face split into a grin at their approach, the lines around his blue eyes crinkling deeper. About time you two love fluxes showed. Figured you'd get tangled in envoy webs. He rose with surprising spryness, hubmeds and the pod's lingering effects working wonders, and clapped Zarian on the arm, careful of the vents. That speech of yours? Damn near brought a tear to this old miner's eye. Pod yield to pain kin, poetic as hell. You've got the makings of a legend, Greenie. Zarian inclined his elongated head, patterns modulating humility. Legends are collective archives, elder. Yours, the unyielding spine that birthed Illyra's resolve, forms the foundation. Harlan barked a laugh, pouring measures into glasses. Flattery from Illyrian? Now I've seen it all. Sit, both of you. We've got toast to make before the real work kicks in. He handed Zarian a vial of misted essence, Illyra a flute of sparkling reserve. To the Interflux archivist, may your chronicles keep the galaxy from unraveling. And to my girl and her glow stick, may your confluence outlast the stars. They raised their vessels, the toast echoing in harmonic layers. Human clink, Lyrian vent hum, and a faint synaptic buzz from Harlan's implanted translator. As the essence coursed through Zarian's systems, sharpening his perceptual webs, conversation flowed like the ocean vista below. Harlan regaled them with tales from his undersecretary days, brokering isotope deals with Zorath cartels, dodging Keldari raids on frontier rigs. Back then, he said, eyes distant, we humans were scrappers, punching above our weight. Now, with Lyrian symbiotes and Keldari might, we're architects. Illyra leaned forward, her gown's threads shifting to a thoughtful indigo. Architects with cracks. The pack's ink is barely dry, and already whispers from the fringe worlds. The Regulan collectives grumbling about crystal tariffs claim we're hoarding Drift's lattices for neural shields. Zarian's facets caught the lumen shift, his glow dimming to sage caution. Equilibrium demands vigilance. My archives note similar fractures post-alliance. The Vega lichen uprisings after human drills disrupted spore cycles. Bindings hold if tended. Harlan nodded, draining his tumbler. Spoken like a true archivist. Speaking of, your first duty calls tomorrow. Council's convening a subpact on Epsilon's outer rims. Some anomaly in the flux belts, ships vanishing, neural echoes lingering like ghosts. They want your eyes on it. Illyra's hand found Zarian's limb under the table, a subtle anchor. And mine, as chief xenodiplomat. Father's pulling strings to embed us as a unit. Confluence perks, I suppose. Zarian's patterns swirled appreciatively. A shared chronicle. The voids hold many secrets. Perhaps this anomaly etches the pack's next chapter. As Harlan regaled further with ribbled outpost yarns, Zarian felt the pull of the night deepening. Terra Nova's storms brewed below, lightning veins illuminating thunderheads in electric blues. When Harlan finally excused himself, Muttering about old bones needing recharge, Lira led Zarian to the alcove's inner sanctum, a cocoon of symbiote sheets that adapted to dual biologies. Warming for her, misting for him. Their confluence renewed their bodies and webs, intertwining in a dance of discovery. Her fingers traced his biolum patterns, coaxing flares of emerald. His vents exhaled tendrils that cooled her fevered skin, drawing gasps of delight. "You're a universe unto yourself," she whispered against his facet crown, her neural crown pulsing in sync with his spore threads. "How did a simple pod swap lead here?" Flux's whim, he trilled, limbs encircling her. Yet in archives, whims are patterns waiting revelation. Dawn broke with the spire's lumens, simulating a gentle aurora, rousing them to the frigate's call. The ether bind, a sleek Concord vessel with Lyrian-inspired spore sails for enhanced fold efficiency, awaited at the primary dock. Zarian and Lira boarded amid a flurry of aides. Human techs calibrating neural interfaces, Lyrian chronicler apprentices archiving departure logs, even a lone Keldari observer, a mid-rank chitin with ash-gray plates, humming synaptic approval at the hybrid crew. Captain Lira Voss, no relation to Lira, though the coincidence amused Harlan, greeted them on the bridge. A wiry human in her 50s with silver-streaked black hair and eyes like polished obsidian, she embodied frontier command. Efficient, unyielding, with a dry wit honed on asteroid hulls. Archivist Kel, Diplomat Voss. Welcome aboard. We're folding to Epsilon's rim in 2 units. Plenty of time for briefings. The bridge was a symphony of controlled flux. Holographic star maps blooming in midair, crew interfaces humming with data streams. Zarian settled into a levitation pod calibrated for Lyrian physiology, Lira claiming the adjacent contour chair. Their hands, limb and palm, brushed a silent confluence. Lira activated the primary hollow, a swirling nebula projection. Epsilon Drift's outer belts rendered in turbulent reds and violets. Anomaly designated Echo Veil. Ships entering the flux belts report neural distortions, echoes of past voyages bleeding into present cognition. 3 Concord scouts lost in the last cycle. Debris minimal, logs garbled with memories? Not crews, others. Zarian's facets refocused, patterns shifting to analytical teal. Symbiotic bleed? Lyrian archives reference veil phenomena on Vega. Spore memories imprinting on intruders, reweaving perceptions. Lira frowned. Her gown traded for utilitarian neural jumpsuit that hugged her form like a second skin. Regulan probes corroborate, claim it a natural rift, but their tariff screams sabotage. If it's artificial, someone's testing the packs, seems. The Keldari Observer, THRYSS, per its synaptic tag, rasped from a corner station. Dominion scans detect synaptic residues. Echoes of old wars, pre-Concord fractures. If Veil weaponized, pack crumbles. Lyra's obsidian eyes narrowed. Our mandate, probe, chronicle, contain. Archivist, your symbiote lens. Diplomat, your envoy webs. We'll fold rimward, deploy probes. Questions? Zarian trilled none, but as the bind hummed to fold threshold, a disquiet stirred in his vents. Confluence shared Lira's unease, a prickling at neural edges, as if the anomaly whispered already. The fold hit like a spore gust. Zarian's webs flexed, accommodating the synaptic tug with practiced ease, while Lira gripped the armrests, her crown flickering. Emerging in Epsilon's rim, the viewport bloomed chaos, flux belts coiling like neural vipers, laced with iridescent tears, rifts where starlight warped into phantom silhouettes. Ghost ships, half-formed, drifted in the ether, hulls of ancient designs, crews frozen in eternal toil. Stars, Lira breathed. It's alive. Probes away, Lira commanded. Drones, spherical, spore-coated for Lyrian stealth, slipped into the nearest rift, feeds relaying to the hollow. Initial data streamed. Electromagnetic spikes, synaptic harmonics, mimicking archive memories. Zarian's wrist archive interfaced, cross-referencing. Matches to the Zorath Schism War, 3 centuries prior. Fleets vaporized in nebula fire, echoes trapped in flux crystals. Residues, Zarian murmured, patterns intensifying. The veil isn't rending space, it's archiving trauma. Old pains re-emerging, imprinting on new webs. HFY's plates clicked alarm. Weapon. Someone stirs ghosts to fracture packs. Alera's hazel sharpened. Or natural decay. If crystals destabilize, Drift's lattices could chain react. Shields fail, neural storms ravage core worlds. Alarms wailed. Proximity alert. Unidentified contact, rift emergent. The viewport framed it. A spectral frigate, hull phased like mirage, bearing Concord insignia faded to ghosts. But scans screamed anomaly. Energy signature Caldari, laced with Regulan flux modulators. Hail them, Lira snapped. The comm crackled, blooming a figure. A human male, mid-30s, with gaunt features and eyes hollowed by neural burn. His uniform, tattered envoy robes, hung loose on a frame whittled by voids. This is Captain Elias Crow of the Echo Herald. We require assistance. The veil it remembers. Alera leaned in. Captain Crow? Herald was lost 2 cycles past. Concords searched exhaustively. Crow's gaze flickered as if viewing overlays. Lost? No. We folded through. The echoes, they pull. Join us. See the truths the pact buries. Static surged. The spectral ship phased closer, tractor veils extending like spectral limbs. Evasive, Lira barked. The bind shuddered, spore sails flaring to outmaneuver. But the veil's rifts warped trajectories, space folding unnaturally. Zarian's vents surged intuition. Not pursuit, symbiosis. The anomaly seeks integration. Cease evasion, interface. Lira hesitated, then nodded. Helm, match vector. Archivist, your lead. As the bind synced, a docking tether latched, ethereal, humming with archive harmonics. Zarian rose, Alera at his flank, HFY's trailing with spines half-raised. Arm neural buffers, Zarian advised. The veil etches deeply. The Herald's corridors were a nightmare archive. Walls phasing between pristine alloy and schism-scarred hulls, air thick with phantom pheromones. Fierce sweat from Zorath crews, synaptic ozone from Caldari lances. Crew, 10 souls, human and hybrid, shuffled like reweaves, eyes distant, murmuring fragments. The tariffs, they bleed us dry. Ghosts in the crystals, they whisper betrayal. Crow awaited in the Nexus, a hollow map flickering with overlaid timelines. Past battles bleeding into present probes. You came, he rasped. No smile in his hollows, the veil chose you. See, he activated a crystal shard, harvested from Drift's core. It bloomed a neural replay. Fleets clashing in nebula fire, Zorath feathers aflame, Caldari chitin shattering. But woven through, modern threads, Regulan envoys slipping modulators into flux belts, Caldari saboteurs etching war ghosts. Sabotage, Crow intoned. Pax foes stir old rifts to shatter new bonds. Alera's crown pulsed fury. Proof? This could be veiled distortion, memories twisted. Zarian extended a limb to the shard, Vince inhaling its harmonic. Symbiote threads quested, reweaving data, authentic. No twist, truth etched. Regulan cartels, fearing crystal loss, seed ghosts. Caldari fringes, coveting dominance, amplify. The veil amplifies all. HFY's rasped outrage, plates flaring crimson. Treachery, Dominion purges this. Crow nodded, eyes clearing fractionally. Purge the seeds. But the crew were bound. Echoes claim us unless excised. Zarian's patterns darkened to olive peril. Excise risks cascade, shatter the archive, unleash unbound ghosts. He turned to Alera, confluence sharing her resolve. We reweave, bind the echoes to harmony, not fracture. The plan coalesced in the Nexus's flux. Zarian's symbiote lore to map the veil's webs, Alera's diplomatic neural probes to interface with ghost crews, HFY's Caldari synaptic lances to sever sabotage nodes. Lira coordinated from the bind, deploying the frigate as anchor. But as they ventured deeper, suits buffered, limbs linked, the veil resisted. First rift, a Zorath schism battle, feathers screaming as lances pierced. Phantoms lunged, spectral warriors, claws raking neural fields. Zarian levitated, vents exhaling spore mist to bind them, reweaving aggression into archival stasis. Equilibrium, he trilled, essence threading ghosts to dormancy. Alera's probes synced, envoy codes whispering truce protocols, calming the frenzy. Deeper, Keldari high fracture, chitin swarms devouring kin. HFY's lances flared, severing echo links, but a surge backlash, synaptic feedback lancing his plates. It remembers Dominion's shame, he grated. Zarian intervened, limb to crest. Lyrian flux merging, adapting the shame to lesson. War's cost etched, not relived. Alera faltered in a human void. Herald Crew's final moments, isolation clawing psyches. Eric! No, Zarian, she gasped, hazel fracturing as echoes pulled. Confluence anchored, his spore threads bolstering her webs, her resolve steadying his vents. Together, they chorused, probes and archives fusing to excise the pull. Hours blurred into a neural maze, rifts yielding secrets, Regulan drop points, modulator caches and asteroid veils, Keldari fringe cells, etching war ghosts from black market crystals. But the core rift loomed, a maelstrom of unbound timelines, the veil's heart where all echoes converged. Brace, Zarian warned, patterns storming emerald tempests. The team tethered, limbs, hands, spines linked, plunged. Chaos assailed, battles overlaying, screams in harmonic cacophony. Crow flanked, his hollows alight with purpose. Here the seed. A nexus crystal pulsed, sabotage node throbbing with formods. HFY lanced, Alera probed, Zarian wove. Symbiote spores infiltrating, reknitting fractures into stable archive. The veil shuddered, ghosts wailing as bindings formed. Not erasure, but integration. War memories archived as cautionary webs, fueling pack strength. Backlash peaked. A spectral armada coalesced, lances priming on the intruders. It rejects, Crow cried. Zarian's vents maxed, exhaling a confluence burst. Alera's resolve, HFY's might, his flux, radiating equilibrium. The armada phased, dissolving into harmonic mist. Emergence. The herald solidified, rifts sealing. Crew blinked awake, echoes purged. Crow clasped Zarian's limb. You rewove us. The veil sleeps but watches. Lyra's calm, hail triumph. Veil contained. Councils en route, pact reinforced. But as the bind folded homeward, Zarian felt a residual hum in his webs. A faint echo, not ghost, but whisper. Alera sensed it too, her crown flickering. Something lingers. A new flux. HFY's rasped agreement. Seeds cut, but roots delve deeper. Fringe shadows stir. Solar Aspire welcomed heroes. Harlan's embrace bone-crushing. Council's accolade the cascade of neural honors. Zarian's medallion upgraded. Drift crystal fused with veil shards, pulsing archived harmony. Yet in private, with Alera curled against him in their spire quarters. A verdant haven of symbio vines and ocean view ports, the whisper gnawed. It's not over, she murmured, fingers tracing his patterns. The veil showed fractures beyond Regulan greed. Ancient rifts, pre-concord. What if the pact unearthed something older? Zarian's glow steadied to resolute jade. Then we chronicle it. Confluence binds us, equilibrium guides. Weeks wove into cycles. Zarian's interflux role expanded. Lectures at Lira academies on veil symbiotes. Diplomatic jaunts to Keldari, hives etching anti-ghost protocols. Alera navigated envoy circles, her probes seeding pact loyalty. Their bond deepened. Stolen folds to Epsilon's cleansed rims, where they walked crystal spires hand in limb. Confluence sharing dreams. Hers of unified frontiers, his of galactic archives unbound. Harlan, semi-retired to advisory, hosted flux feasts in his spire's sanctum. Human roasts fused Lyrian spore breads, Keldari synaptic spices adding rasp. To the Ghostbusters, he'd toast, eyes twinkling. Teachar YSS attended sporadically, plates relaxing over cycles, sharing Dominion lore, tales of hive unities forged in neural fires. Yet the whisper grew, anomalous readings from outer voids, echoes not of war, but creation. Ships reporting visions of Genesis, primordial fluxes birthing stars, laced with intent. Council's subcommittee formed, Zarian and Lira at core. Their probe frigate, Harmony Echo, upgraded with veil-stabilized sails, folded to the Perseus fringe, a nebula veil older than Concord Ritz. Sensors bloomed data, rifts not fracturing but gestating. Spectral forms emerged, not ghosts, but progenitors, ancient entities, archived in flux crystals since galaxy dawn. Their awakening, Lira breathed, hollow framing a colossal silhouette, tentacled, luminous, webs spanning light cycles. The veil was a cradle, not a grave. Zarian's archives surged matches. Lyrian Genesis lore, whispers of primord flux, entities that seeded life, slumbered in nebulae, roused by disruptions. The Pax probes, our extractions, stirred them. Equilibrium demands dialogue, not dormancy. The entity hailed, a harmonic cascade, translating via Zarian's vents. Weavers, you reknit our archives. Yet your bindings fracture the cradle. Seek balance, or Genesis unravels. Lira's probes interfaced, diplomatic webs questing. We seek harmony. The pact unites, share your flux, guide our archives. The primord pulsed contemplation, visions flooding, galaxy births, species fusions, warnings of overweave, civilizations collapsing under unchecked expansion. Trial awaits. Chronicle our essence without dominion. The challenge, a neural gauntlet, not combat but creation. Zarian, Lira, and a rotating cadre, Tichoisis, Lira, even Harlan as elder anchor, ventured into the cradle rift. Tasks wove, rearchive Genesis memories into stable crystals, fuse primord threads with pact protocols, etch a Genesis accord binding ancients to moderns. Fractures tested, Lira's webs strained under primordial overload, visions of human origins, primal seas birthing neural sponges. Zarian's vents buffered, spore fusion sharing load. Teachar YSS's chitin cracked under hive Genesis echoes, dominion roots in cosmic swarms. Harlan's resolve anchored, his miner's grit chronicling raw. Climax, Cornexus, primord heart, throbbing instability. Weave or unravel, it harmonized. Confluence peaked, Zarian and Lira's bond radiating, drawing team webs into grand equilibrium. Threads merged, Lyrian symbiote, human resolve, Keldari might, primord flux. The heart stabilized, birthing a new crystal, Genesis keystone, pulsing eternal balance. Emergence, the Perseus stabilized, primords allying as veil guardians. Councils all birthed the Genesis wing. Zarian's archives expanded galactic, Lira's diplomacy transcendent. Cycles turned, their confluence formalized in a rite blending human vows, Lyrian seals, and primord harmonics. Under Solara's aurora, Harlan officiating, Teachar YSS lancing honor sparks. To eternal flux, toasts rang. Yet whispers persisted, new anomalies, deeper voids. Zarian, medallion keystone embedded, held Lira close. The archive expands eternally. One pod yielded this. What yields next? She smiled, hazel infinite. Us. Together, we yield universes. In the spire's quiet, as Terra's storms raged, they chronicled onward. Heroes not of war, but weave. Equilibrium's echo, rippling forever.